That is the beginning of the changes that we encounter as a third order. Personally, me, because I am a guy that if there is a big move that happened with my surrounding, I will ask what's happening. I will ask what's happening here. I'm not blind, I'm not deaf, but to be honest with you, Anthony, the secretariat of the AFI don't like me to be with them. Why? Because I am a former oath brother. They don't like oath brother or a former oath brother to be with AFI.
Welcome back, everyone. You are watching the Truth That Heals podcast. I am your host, Ryan Anthony Hernandez, and today I'm joined by my friend Cyrus, who is coming all the way from the Philippines. Welcome to the show, Cyrus. How are you doing today?
Yeah, hi there, Anthony. I'm still alive and kicking. It's been a decade, man. It's been a decade.
It's been a decade since I've last seen you, and I believe the last time I saw you was in Laguna, Philippines. Is that correct?
Yeah, you're eating on the table.
Uh, I was eating on top of the table, like standing on the table, or
No, you're just using your plate, of course.
yeah, yeah. Well, now I think you're living. What part of the Philippines are you in now currently?
I'm currently located at one of the city here at Metro Manila, which is Nabota City.
Nice. Well, I'm very happy to see that you're here on the show. And for the audience, I've known this guy since maybe 2012, 20. I think
2012.
2012, 2013 is when I met you. And then I left the Philippines in 2015. But I think the last time I saw you was around 2014. So it's actually been like 9 years, but 10 years since I've met you for sure.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
it's been quite a long journey. And I met Cyrus. He was actually a brother in the same community that I was in, and it's been a long time. So many years have gone by, and you were there in the community as a brother for how long?
I started my journey with the Oath Brothers. I do have here my my notes, and I started my Oath Brother 2014. I entered May 2014. Yeah,
Okay. And when did you leave the brotherhood actually?
I exited 2019. Four
Okay.
years. Yeah,
Okay. So I thought you left before me, but yeah, okay, now it makes, I mean, you
you
know
are the first one.
I was the one who left first, but there are just,
Yeah.
there's just so many things happening. It's hard to remember everything, and I was just in my own world, and I wish I could have a better memory of everything. But yeah, I met you in 2014 in Emok, and I think you were a novice or a postulant in 2014.
During my postulancy, you are. I know that you are in Cebu. That's what I know, and I met you because of one of the brother during the time, which is my batchmate, which is Mark, and Mark is the one who introduced you to me. I
Okay.
still remember that,
Is
and I don't know that you are. I don't know that you are a foreigner during that time. As far as I know, you are a Filipino, and you look like a Filipino during that time because you came from Cebu, and the color of your skin is not the same with the color of your skin right now.
Yeah, I was very tanned. I was very dark at that time, and I really loved the environment, and I loved getting the nice suntans, and I enjoyed. There were parts of my stay in the community which I really cherish to this day. And for those who have listened to my podcast, they will know that there were moments which absolutely detest because I don't like abuse. Bottom line, I disagree with abuse. But right now we're talking about the good times, and when I met you. And unfortunately, I don't remember exactly. However, when I left Cebu, I went to Laguna to Imok, Barangay Imok, and I
Yeah,
stayed with a community down the hill. If you remember, we
yeah,
had the hill. I stayed with the community there, a community there, for a few months. But then I wanted to leave, so they put me in the healing center.
yeah. In the Para Chapel.
Yeah, so for those who are listening and who are thinking, what the hell is Ryan talking about? So the healing center is like supposed to be where they put like people who are sick or people who are like possessed by a devil or something, so that they
Yeah,
can
that's correct.
be healed. But because I had wanted to leave, I guess they separated me and put me there for a while. But I still had a little bit of freedom, and I remember I would join your community every now and then for some of the meals, because there was a while where I didn't have a community, so I would maybe take some of the leftovers. I don't know if you remember that. So that's probably why you saw me eating. That makes a lot of sense. Now everything is coming back. So I wanted to ask you, since we're already talking about the brotherhood and all that, let's go back. Can you
Mm.
share with us a little bit how you got involved with this community? Like, what's your origin story?
Yeah, actually, I don't have any interest in seminary life because when I was in high school, I'm planning to be a teacher, to have a wife, to have a kids. That's the purpose of my life. And I said that when I was in fourth year high school. And I don't dream to become a priest. I don't dream to become a brother or whatsoever. Now, one time, I'm not a devoted Catholic because during that time, to be honest with you, I'm practicing to be a born again. So,
Okay.
as a youth, to be a born again is so encouraging because of the guitars, the drums, the entertainment. And I don't know, they called it as worship, but I eventually there is a scenario at my school that during my it should be examination day, but my teacher, my English teacher, is not on the time that she was supposed to be, and I was the president of the classroom, and then I checked my teacher why she is not available at that moment. And I finally found out when I go to the faculty, I finally found out that there is a Marian processions. A Marian procession happening at my school without us notifying or without us knowing that there's a Marian procession. So I saw the Lady of Our Lady of Fatima, which is processing around the school, and I saw this brothers and sisters, which is the old brothers and the limb sisters. So I just walked by and I just wanted to, to join the procession since there's no class at that moment. So I know the Blessed Virgin Mary. More than that, I know Jesus Christ. Oh Lord, please forgive me. Um, yeah, I follow the procession and they pray the Holy Rosary, which is, I do have a girlfriend during that time. And my girlfriend is searching for me. Where am I? And she saw me praying the Holy Rosary. I don't have a rosary with my hand, but I'm just participating with the campus that they are praying the Holy Rosary. And one time during this occasion, there is a follow-up occasion happen. The youth ministry, they are searching for the youth who wanted to join this Mary Help of Christian Crusade, and they introduced this one as a happy movement which can encourage youth who wanted to enter the priesthood, who wanted to become a nun. And then some of my classmates joined this group, and I encouraged to join the group, and I saw something that, of course, the brother during that time, the brother during that time who has encouraged me to be part of the movement is actually Brother Cyprian, who is a priest right now, and Brother Alphonsus Delivery, who is now an acolyte with his community. So, and the other sisters, I forgot the name of the sisters, but this one is a Filipino American. I forgot the name of the
Yeah,
sister.
yeah, we can skip their names. It's all good.
Yeah, yeah, okay. And that's the beginning of it. So I go to the vigil. I have an adoration every day, which is it is my first time to see a Eucharist that is on the center of the tabernacle exposed. And I don't know why they are praying in that particular. I don't have any idea what the Eucharist is all about because like what I have said, I'm not a devoted Catholic. And these brothers and sisters, they are the one who introduced to me this type of life, this type
So
of faith.
so would you say that once you got involved with the MHCC, they weren't they were perhaps training you to have a prayer life, or they were like
Yeah,
showing you how to pray and things like that?
a piety of
A
praying.
piety. Okay.
Yeah,
And then so from there, was there a call for you to join them, or
no,
what
there's no call.
how
And
was that?
then I finished my high school and I study in college. And while I'm studying at college, I prepare to work. So I'm working, and then the same way I'm studying. Now here's one of the scenario that I suppose not meant to meet another brother of the community, but during that time, as I was working as a one of the worker at one of the fast food or the fast food that is very known here at my country. So I worked there, and then eventually there is a guy wearing a gray polo, and I know that uniform. I know that polo. I know
Mhm.
those brothers. I do know those guys. And one of the brother approached me and said, "You are a former AMHCC, right?" Yes, I am. You want to go to the vigil because we have a vigil today. So without any further ado, I go to the vigil. And then when I go to the vigil, I don't know, there's something that I feel that, oh, I want to be a brother. I want to be a seminarian. And then during that time, they encouraged me to go to EMOC. I don't know what's EMOC.
So
And
you
I
have
go
no
to,
idea what EMOC is. They just said, "Come on,
yeah,
go to EMOC. Let's go."
yeah, let's go to EMOC together with this, with the old ladies, the third orders. So I go with them. So we visited the time, and oh my God, there's a goosebumps during that time. I feel that, does this happen? The way they sing, the way they pray. I saw the brothers, the way they sing, the way they pray, the way the mass is celebrated. Oh my golly, this is something that I need to have in my life. So from that then, at that very moment, they encourage me because if there's no encouragement, I will not going to enter the seminar. So
Mhm.
there's an encouragement. Of course, there's an encouragement. So that encouragement pushed me to know more better about the seminary life. So I said, yes, why not? Let me try.
So you decided right then and there. So after getting out of work, you go to the vigil, and then they're like, "Come on, let's go to EMOC." You go to EMOC, and then you're like, "What the hell? I think I like the seminary life. I think I want to join like that."
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, that was very quick.
Yeah, because it's something new. It's
Yeah.
something new. That is something interested or interesting.
Mm. And so, so did you stay right there? Did you quit your job right
No,
there and stay? Okay, so there's more. Okay.
after that, I asked my mother, I asked my father if they're going to allow me to become a seminarian. So my father said yes. My mother said no. So no matter we're going to say yes, that
Yeah.
we were going to be separated with your family and you are not going to contact them, because that is the case during the time. We are not allowed to bring phones. We are not allowed to contact them without notifying our superiors during that time. So um there is one moment that I asked my mother, I'm just going to try. If I failed, or if there is something that I don't feel that I'm worthy of this life, I will go out and I will go back to you. And then after some days, my mother said yes.
Okay.
So I entered the seminary May. Actually, I'm quite late because during that time, my batchmates are already there.
Okay. So at
So
this point, uh, I'm trying to understand how much you know about the movement. So you know about the MHCC, you know a bit about the Prairie
yeah,
Life. Do you know about all the six institutes and the AHFI and the third orders and Father Bing?
to
Do you
be
know all
honest,
about that already? Or
during that time, of course, I don't know the essence or the sense. I just know the third orders. I just know them personally, but not third orders as a part of the church, as a part of the congregation. During the time, I don't know what is a congregation is. I don't know if they are approved or not. I don't know that. So
so
I don't know the institutes. I don't know Padre Bing. I don't know everything.
all you know is that wow, I went to this vigil. It was awesome. I really felt inspired. And if I stay with them, I'm going to eventually become a priest.
Yeah, that's my idea then.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's kind of my yeah, okay. Go ahead. And so
And then
that's how you joined. Yeah.
yeah, that's how I joined the community. So and
And
I don't know that I am going to study inside the seminary. I thought I was going to pray.
mhm. So
So I thought it is an escape for me to study in college. But oh my God, it's quite difficult to study while you are inside the seminary. It's
um
quite challenging.
when you were there, I think during your time things were starting to change because when you know when I studied in my time, you know, our studies were like it was very awkward. It was never a real school because we'd have a school in San Jose, Quita, and then we'd be studying in Patimbao, then we'd be studying in Santo Angel, then we'd be studying in Calios. So it was very awkward the system. But when you in your time, would you say that things were more organized
Um,
or still not yet?
Not 100% organized, because as far as I know, I'm studying at IMO, but the name of my of the college is address with the within the other address, which is San Jose City, Nueva Ecija. So that's quite. I'm studying here at IMO, but my school is at San Jose. So what's happening here?
So was it like online or
No, the brothers, the brothers and the volunteer teachers, the volunteer professor is the one who's visiting the seminary, and they are the one who's teaching us. So and but our credentials, our papers should be submitted in Nueva Ecija. So everything, the documents, which is one of the most difficult thing that I encounter after my seminary life, because I need to get those documents at Nueva Ecija. It's too far, and
Mhm.
and I need those documents. So They sending everything at Nueva Ecija, but I'm studying here at Laguna. So my mind is quite confused during that time while I'm studying here at Laguna, and all my credentials
Or over
is
there.
so I finally found out that the address of the college itself is addressed in San Jose, in Kita Kita.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So there's so much to unpack. There's so much to unpack there. Um, but I wanted to kind of change the topic for a moment, and because you did your seminary life, you did your studies. Um, now I'm kind of wondering, how is it that you left the brothers, if you would like to share.
Yeah, the reason why I left the community is not because of the brothers or the group itself,
Mhm.
because it is not the same during your time. The seminary life is not the same during your time, even though there's some instances, there are some scenario that the same that happened to you personally, but the reason why I leave the community is because there's a personal reason, because it seems like everything is changing.
Mhm.
Why is everything changing? The way that they taught us before is not the same on what's happening right now. So it means that there is changes. It is a big changes, because I was trained. It's, let's say for example that I was trained in this kind of battle, but you're going to set me on a war that I don't know what weapon I'm going to use. So that's what happened. So but I decided to get out on the seminary with the happy feelings. So I asked my superior then that, oh, I need to go because I don't like the ambience of what's happening with the community. You mentioned earlier that is the beginning of every changes.
Yeah.
I will use that's the beginning of every chaos of everything.
So during the changes, would you say that, because I mean you have mentioned it's chaos, but would you say that they were trying to change it for the better, or would you say that it was a change of it was like a divisive changes, or how would you explain that?
It became divisive, or it became divisive because some of the brothers, some of the sisters don't like the changes that has been requested by the Vatican itself with the presence of the Pontifical Commissary. So they don't like it. So, and that changes. So our elders in the community don't like those changes. So we are doing stuff that is hidden. You know what I mean? That is hidden
Okay,
from the eyes of this
from the
um
eyes.
from the eyes of this of the Pontifical Commissary. Because during then we are not allowed to pray early in the morning at 3 a.m., 1 a.m. We are not allowed to do that because that is what the Pontifical Commissary is telling, which is came from Vatican. And but my superiors, our superiors during that time says, "Oh, we need to pray. We need to pray at this time. We need," and my mind is telling me who I'm going to obey. Is that the superior, or is that the Vatican, which is the head of the church, which is the very the pontiff? And that's the reason why. Oh, come on! You never told me on the beginning of my journey that this movement is not yet approved.
Okay, so
So that's what happened. So I decided to go out.
okay, so going back to your recruitment, you didn't know entirely what you were going to join, but you were very inspired, so you joined, and then along your journey, you discovered that this community, this congregation, was not exactly what you thought it was. That's when you discovered that it had not yet even been approved fully by the church, but was still in the process. And so during that process, the Vatican or pontifical commissary, which is from the Vatican, they made the change that instead of waking up at 1 o'clock or at 3 o'clock in the morning to pray, uh, they've uh, they told the community to instead wake up later and to sleep more, kind of.
Yes, because the reason behind that is they check as well during that time. There are two visitors during that time. It is the Pontifical Commissary and the Chad. So, on the meeting of the Chad, as far as I know, it is this information has been told to me with one of the brothers. During that time, the teachers, the professors is with the Chad. And the number one problem that they raise with the superiors is these brothers are sleeping during the class time. And the professors, which is a lay people, they are lay people without knowing who is their students, why they are sleeping during our class time. They do know that they don't know, rather, that we are trying to wake up at early as 3 a.m. So when the class started, we fall asleep. So everything started on that reason why the Pontifical Commissary wanted to change the time or the schedule of the prayer time. I thought when or I mean to say, when I leave the community after a month or after a few months, they started praying at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. in the morning. So not the same with us. I eventually experienced to pray at 1 a.m. and you know what's the reason behind that 1 a.m. schedule for praying adoration. And to be honest with you, all of us is falling asleep. And if we do not pray with our hearts, with an ecstasy during that time, which is 1 a.m., we don't have food during breakfast. You know that, man. That's
Yeah.
you know, you know that. That's the
Yeah.
penance that
Yeah.
we will have. So the Pontifical Commissary decided to, oh, you pray at 5 a.m., the Mass at 6 a.m. It seems like that. So everything changed.
So
So
so the changes are so CHED is what is CHED?
the CHED is the Commission on Higher Education.
Okay.
It is a separate institution that is affiliated with the Department of Education, but they are separate. So they are the one who is handling the colleges, the universities here in the
So
Philippines.
that's more involved with the Philippine government and the Filipino education.
Yes,
Okay, and not with the Vatican.
not with the Vatican. So
Okay.
they don't have any relation with Vatican.
Okay. So but since it is a school, the CHED is observing that the students are sleeping, and then so the Vatican made that change. Okay, you're gonna sleep regular instead of waking up so early. You're gonna sleep, and then from your observation, superiors were saying we're not going to obey that.
Um, Not really will not go into be because during the visitation of Chad, they are trying to transfer the name of the university or the name of the college. They are trying to transfer it to Laguna. They are changing it from
San
college
Jose.
to collegium. Yeah, they
Okay.
are changing it. But what happened is there are two colleges right now. What happened is the MRC in San Jose is still existing. Is still under the CHAD, and there is a separate college in Imok, which is the Collegium. So that's what happened. Now, um, in regards with they are not, maybe the superiors during that time having a hard time as well. Who are they going to follow? It is the founder or it is the pontifical commissary. I feel that because I cannot blame them, and I will not do that. I cannot blame them that there is some higher person who is doing the obedience or giving the obedience to them. So they are the one who going to share that one to the brothers. So I cannot blame them that there is somebody that is, oh no, don't follow them. Follow this instruction that I'm giving to you.
Okay, so
It seems like I am the boss.
you
So
mentioned the founder. Can you name the founder?
it is Father Edgardo Arellano, the founder of the Alliance of the Two Hearts, and many more congregation aside from this.
Did you see him personally saying that, or or did you see other superiors who are under him saying, we're going to wake up still at 3 o'clock?
Um, he is not the one who tell us that we need to wake up still at 3 a.m. But it seems like it's kind of obedience, not 100% obedience, but an encouragement with us that if you wanted to, you can still wake up at 3 a.m. to pray together with us. We cannot decide during that time. We cannot decide if we're going to wake up at 3 a.m. because it's the conscience that telling us, oh, some of the brothers is waking up at 3 a.m. and you are still sleeping
Yeah, guilt.
sound. Yeah, the guilt inside because we don't know that 100%. We don't know that the process will be changed or it has some changes that the Pontifical Commissary wanted to have. So they are not telling us why. It seems like, to be honest with you, Anthony, it seems like this Pontifical Commissary is the devil visiting a church. That is that is what they thought or what they are implying to do because some of the cases that we had a meeting before the Pontifical Commissary happened or before this Pontifical Commissary visited the congregation. We had a meeting. I don't know if you attended that meeting. And they tell us that this gonna be happen, this gonna be happen on this one. The sum up of everything is what the founder told is obey them.
Mhm.
So that's
Obey
what
them
they
as obey the PC, or obey them?
ob- obey the PC.
Okay.
Okay. Now, what is the problem? What's happening right now is the channel of information or the one who's sending the information to the founder is changing everything. So it seems like there is a person there that I don't like this. Let's change this. It seems like that. So this founder is just listening with this guy or with this lady. And because during the time the founder is not there,
Yeah.
because he's not allowed to be there. He's not allowed to tap any superiors there. The superiors are not allowed. So that's what happened. So the founder is not allowed to be there. So he is not 100% assured or 100% having an information of what's happening. So it means to say that all the information that he had is just an information transferring to him.
Mhm.
So maybe I will not say 100%. Maybe there is some information added to the information given by the PC, and then before they throw to the founder. So it seems like that was happening. So everything happened on that very beginning. And during my prayer, during my time at Imok, I asked the Lord, why this thing happened? Why I am here?
So
I
it sounds like it must have been a very confusing moment, not only for you but also to your superiors, because it's like
Yes.
who are they going to follow? Uh, and I now I want to bring in a little bit of some of the things that I saw at that time, because you also bring to light some questions that I have, and so before I left, I remember that the PC was involved, and yes, in Cebu, because I was in Cebu first, Father Francis met with us at the Koth House, and he said that
Mhm.
yes, we're going to follow the PC, but he says,
Mhm.
if they start making changes, I will not follow. He said, I will not follow that. So already we were being what's the word? I guess trained on how not to obey, or where, or like what were our parameters of obedience with the Vatican. However, it raised a question to me, because and in those years I'm starting to finally think and question, because in our training as a postulant, as a novice, we were told that whatever obediences are given, you do it without question, and you do it to perfection, and you execute it right away. So when Father Francis was saying, if they start bringing changes and they want to change, he'll say, change victimhood. They're trying to change our way of life. I will not obey that. And already immediately a red flag is going in my mind, thinking, why is that your response when we have been trained that whatever the obedience is, as long as it's not a sin, or as long as it's not something sinful, you obey. And so I was feeling this already, that they were planting the seed of confusion, in at least in my mind, but I was still confused. And then, but that was before the PC really got involved in the changes. Then the next year, I remember they said, okay, 5 o'clock rising, and then, or 5 o'clock morning prayers, and then 6 o'clock will be the mass. And I remember uh, some of the brothers down the hill, I think perpetual brothers, senior brothers, I would see some of them sleeping until 5, and then I would see a couple still waking up at midnight. And I was already kind of getting ready to leave, so I didn't really care about the changes, because according to them, I was doing my self-will, self-love. So I had I I
Yeah.
had I had no schedule, I had no bedtime, but I would see this brother, and I would ask him, why are you up at this time? And he said, well, the Vatican, they're trying to change us, and they're trying to like water down our charism of victimhood, and that's not right, and I'm going to obey. So in this confusion, because as you brought up, there was so much confusion, and I have no doubts that Father Francis was still in communication with Father Bing, and maybe even the other superiors from the Sith. And but I can't prove that, but I have no doubts, because you've mentioned that Father Bing was supposed to be separated at that time from the community. Do you think that Father Francis, or let's say Father Bing, do you think that they could have, or Father Francis could have told the community, look, we're going to obey. We're not going to, do the 1245. Let's make it clear we're going to be faithful to what the Vatican is telling us. Do you think he could have said that to end the confusion?
He should tell that, because that is the Vatican, and he should obey the Vatican. And I don't know why up until now he's still having this schedule at what 1 a.m. and some of the sisters is under the underwood the Pontifical Commissary is still doing the 1 a.m. adoration, which is the Vatican supposed said, no, you don't need to do that. How are you going to pray if you're already dead?
Yeah, you make a good point.
Yeah, and how are you going to serve the Lord if you are already dead? Because to be honest with you, we need to accept science, and science says that we need to sleep 8 hours a day, and we need to have we need to have a happy hormones in our body so that we can perform our tasks in the morning. How can you do your task if you are not sleeping in the middle of the night and you are waking up at 1 a.m.? So I don't know. I really must encourage him personally that not asking him as a priest, but asking him, hey, dude, this person of yours are human. Please obey what the Vatican said. What this Pontifical Commissary is telling us, it is what the Holy Father or the Pope is telling us to do. And if we are not going to obey the Pontifical Commissary, we are disobeying the Holy Father itself. And that during that time is Pope Benedict XVI.
So do you think by those, I mean, because here's the problem as a member, and I'm going to imagine, let's say this happened, when I was younger, because when I was younger, a younger brother, like in my first 4 or 5 years, I was totally, I'll use the word, brainwashed into believing that Father Bing and Father Francis and Father John and all, Mother Agnes and all of them, that they were like what they spoke was as if the gospel truth, that that nothing is higher, nothing is better, because they're so wise, and they've made this illusion that any priest outside of our community or bishop or pope who isn't supporting us, they must be a Freemason, they must be a communist, or they're trying to destroy our group. That was in my time. But in
Mhm.
your time, did you still feel a sense of that mind control, or of that narrative that you have to believe them, and you can't believe anyone else?
I try my best to believe them during my time in the seminary. I try my best to obey them. So, but my body is weak. Like you, there are times during my novitiate that I never joined the community at 3 a.m. I never joined the community as early, and Sebastian know about this. I never wake up at 3 a.m. or early as in the morning because I'm sleeping very late because of the subjects that we have in college. Because that's a philosophy course. A philosophy course.
Yeah,
It seems like a curse.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, it's quite difficult for me to wake up at 3 a.m. So it seems like there's no problem with me. And during that time, Father Philip said, oh, he can continue sleeping the best that he could, and he can pray the time that he wanted to pray, and he can join the mass. He can join the mass first and have his liturgy of the hours after the holy mass. So I'm allowed with my superior then, which is Father Philip. So Father Philip understand what's happening, so how difficult it is.
But this is very confusing, because there are other superiors, even during that time when I'm leaving, who I know are like, no, we got to stick to this, because they'll. And you brought up a good point, a very valid point, on the necessity of getting rest. However, if you look at their angle is, but people are sinning, people are going to hell, we need to make reparation. And if the Vatican says that we have to be lax or we have to sleep, then they're for the devil. So I can get their perspective, but you're bringing up a valid point that, hey, there's nothing wrong with getting some rest, getting
Mhm.
a proper diet. And when you started sleeping extra, did you feel that maybe people were looking down on you for trying to do that?
Yes, but I tell on my mind, you will understand me later on. You will understand why I want to sleep 8 hours in a day. Because, like what you have said, they are encouraging us to pray because of the reparation. Hey, come on. They're, these brothers are not really praying at what at 1 a.m. They are just there. We don't know if they are praying. We don't know if they are really praying. And how can they save soul if they are so very tired? And they are so very familiar with the word salus animarum. How can you do that task if you are tired and if you are weak and you don't have energy in a day? Because let's say, yeah, we are saving soul at 1 a.m., but we can save more soul if you have a full energy, if you are very equipped, that your mind is 100% ready to face the devil. That's the devil, man. And if you are weak physically, you are going to be weak spiritually because you cannot pray if your body is so very tired.
Do you think that the sleep deprivation, that it was done perhaps to control the members or to keep them under their control?
Maybe, maybe I cannot say yes or I cannot say no because during my novitiate actually it's okay with the head, which is Father Philip, but it's not okay with the assistant superior. They call me the black sheep of the community because I never wake up at 3 a.m. to have a prayer, and they hate me about that. The brothers around me is questioning me why he can sleep. And eventually I asked Father Philip, can I go to the doctor, ask the medical certification that I need to sleep 8 hours because I'm dying during that time. Every month I need to visit a doctor because I'm not allowed to do fasting. I'm not allowed to eat unnecessary foods. And we are eating unnecessary foods during that time. We are I'm not allowed to have a sleep of 5 hours in a day. I need to have 8 hours. So I asked Father Philip, can I go to the doctor? Can I have a medical certificate? And I brought that. And he said, yes, you can go to the doctor and give me the medical certificate. So the doctor gave me. So during that time, when I go back, I asked my brothers inside the dormitory and, hey guys, I have the certificate with the doctor. I need to obey this. So because there are brothers there questioning, questioning me while I'm sleeping 8 hours, while I'm eating, while I'm not on fasting during Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'm just having a fasting during Friday. So they questioning me why Cyrus is not doing this. Why? Because I cannot do that anymore because if you're going to check my health is dying during that time, and this body that I have right now is not the body that I have during my novitiate and my postulancy. I was thin, very thin, and when my mother saw me and my grandmother saw me, they said, you need to go home. And I said, no, I'm not dying. But inside my heart, inside my stomach, I'm dying. because from a fat guy, I turned into a thin. It seems like I am one of the skeleton inside the laboratory. That's what happened
So
during my.
so you join, your health starts going down. And then that was very brave of you to go to the doctor and get the notice, the certificate that hey, you do need rest and you do need food. And I'm happy that you were under Father Philip, because in my years under Father Philip, those were good years. But if you were
Mhm.
under another superior, do you think another superior would allow you to obey the orders of the doctors to eat properly and to sleep properly? Or do you think that another superior would told you no, you need to offer this up and you need to save more souls?
Yes, there are superiors that will tell you that you need to obey the practice that we have. You need to obey the fasting. You need to obey the sleep hours. You need to obey that. But luckily, I don't know if that is a blessing in disguise. Luckily, I do have Father Philip, who is more understandable, having a fatherly understanding that yes, you need to do that. He said yes, and no additional words. When I gave the medical records, he said, "Okay, obey the doctor." That's it. Father Philip is just a man of few words.
Yeah,
And if he want to tell something to you, just going to write it on a piece of paper, and you will shock that, oh, is this Father Philip speaking? Is this
yeah.
Father Philip? Yeah, it seems like that. So I do have here lots of letter with Father Philip that I'm still having. So he said, yes, you can have to obey your doctor. You need to obey your doctor because during that time, he's also obeying the doctors
Mhm.
because he had a stroke during that time. So he's also obeying the doctor. He's taking care of his health as well. So the number one obedience that we have there during our novitiate is to take care of your health.
Okay.
If somebody cannot do a certain task, just tell us, just tell me personally, and we will go into talk about it.
You've mentioned about the confusion of
Mhm.
the changes of whom you're going to obey. And then you brought up how when you were trying, with the permission of Father Philip, to take care of your health. Um, they called you the black sheep. And so you were in a very difficult situation, it seems, because um, a part of you wants to live the lifestyle, but then there's just so many things going around. What was it that led you to saying, my time here is now finished. It's time for me to go home.
When I saw the changes that each of the brothers that I know is going home, that basically one of the reason why. And my batchmate is also going home. My friends during that time they are going home. So I said, why they are? I feel sad. I feel sad that we started happy and we are little by little going out of the seminary because of the changes, because of the confusion. So I asked my superior then, which is Father David, that is a community
Yeah.
downhill under the hill. I don't know how you
Yeah.
going to call that community because it is downhill and under the hill. So
Yeah.
I asked him, Father, can I go home because I think I cannot perform the task of being. During that time, Father David is so very stick into the principles of the founder himself. So he is still obeying the sense of the founder during that time. But now is obeying the pontifical commissary, which is good for him, and he's now depending the stand of the church, which is good. So I will tell you later what is that
Mhm.
scenario that happened. And I asked him, can I go home? And he said, what you're going to do? You are very knowledgeable person. You know everything about the two hearts. You are a good speaker. You are a good inspirational sharer. Can I be? I asked him, can I be a third order? And during that moment, I'm just wearing an ordinary clothes, and he said, I bless you to become a third order and then do the sign of the cross. And starting from that day, I became a third order of the Oblate Apostle of the Two Hearts, which is the oath. And I go back, and he lent the car that he had so that I can go home easily. So he said, you can borrow the car. You can ask the driver to send you home. So if you need your documents, just tell me because I'm going to ask the college in Nueva Ecija to send you the documents. So if you wanted to have your dispensation records, I can give it to you. But he said, oh, I will not give it to you. Maybe you're going to change your mind for if you're going to change your mind, you can go back. And I said, I think I will never go back unless it is the will of the Lord that I need to go back. But I decided not to go back. And that's it. That's the end of the seminary life that we have. And that's also the beginning of another life,
Another journey.
another journey, which is I became part of the third order, which is that third order without any not noticing. The third order is under the founder. So here it goes.
Okay. 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 Let's backpedal a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Because when you left, well, let's backpedal even more. Because in my podcast, I do talk about how it's very confusing for me as well to do the podcast and to do the YouTube, because I'm processing what happened to me and I'm sharing it. And something that I have shared regarding my thoughts is that I was seeing how the community, the congregation, one portion of it was trying to be religious and Christ-like, involving charity and kindness, and like Father Philip, oh, you need
Mhm.
to sleep more, go ahead. But then there was the other side, which claimed to be Christ-like and all that. But I felt that this other side was more, uh, instead of being Christ-like, it was more cult-like and more controlling and more very disrespectful to the members. When I left, I don't think I've shared this, but Father David was he was giving a talk, or he was talking to some of the members, and he was saying, "Look, the old days, members weren't allowed to leave, and if you wanted to leave, they would make it hard." And the way he was addressing it was kind of like acknowledging that some of the superiors from the past were very culty as in
Mhm.
controlling, and if you want to leave, they'll make your life a living hell. But he said that shouldn't be the way. So
Mhm.
if you want to leave, you should be respected for your decision. You shouldn't feel forced to stay, and you shouldn't feel bad for wanting to leave. So I approached him after that and I said, "Look, I want to leave." And he told me, "Look, you're going to need to talk to Father Francis, and because he's the main. He was at that time he was the main guy, but Father David was telling me, look, like, be ready, because he's not going to like it. But if this is your choice, your decision, you need to stand up for what you believe in. So I go to Father Francis, and he made me feel that because I wanted to leave God. And so it really was a very painful, and for me, like, you have Father Philip, Father David, and then Father Bing and Father Francis. And on that one side with Father Philip, I felt very respected, very I felt I was in peaceful hands. But on the side of Father Francis and Father Bing and other superiors, it was very scary to approach them and say, I want to leave. And yeah, they both made me feel terrible, made me feel humiliated. But like I said, it was that the hard part for me is speaking about that, because there is that side which is Christ-like and charitable, and there's the other side which was cult-like. So I'm bringing that up because I wanted to ask you, when you left, did you feel that there was still a strong cult presence, or do you feel that the cult ideologies were starting to leave in your time when you wanted to leave? Was there that pressure, that cult like pressure, or was it more a Christ like?
During the time, it seems like Christ-like. I never asked Father Francis for the blessing if you're going to allow me to go home. I never asked him. It's only Father David, and Father David said, "I'm the one who's going to tell Father Francis that you are going home." And there's a rumor there that Father Francis is not the one who is the uh, the one who is having the decision during that time. They are now in way of changing. The superiors or the head, they are now planning to change it. So during that time, before I go out of the seminary, they are planning to have the changes, and they planning to put Father Philip as the substitute with Father Francis. It is also requested by the Pontifical Commissary that these superiors, because we know that there are reasons why the Pontifical Commissary is there. So all the superiors or all the heads of the sixth institute must not be the superiors or the head. It should be changed. So everything is changed from the sisters and the brothers. So
So
it seems kind of easy for me to go home during that time. Not the same with the scenario that you have. It seems like they are Christ-like because Father David is quite um strict, but if you're going to talk to him personally, he's like a hard bread. And if you're going to talk to him, it seems like you are the coffee, and he'll going to melt. So he'll going to ask you some question, but in the middle or in the end of your conversation, he will going to understand the point. So on the beginning, he's going to shout or going to question because he's a Bisaya. So that's the Bisaya way of communication. But after the talking, he get the point, and he said, "Yes, if you don't like, if you wanted to have more rest, or if you want to go home, you can do it."
it wasn't like, how dare you ask this? Like, it wasn't, because when I told Father Francis, um and I'm sharing this because this is my conversation with Father Francis, and I'm saying that because there might be people in the audience who are saying, or who might be thinking, oh, Ryan shouldn't share a conversation. Well, shoot, I'm gonna share it. He said, like, the gist of what he was saying to me when I after I spoke to Father David, and Father David encouraged me to talk to Father Francis. I told Father Francis, I really want to leave. He made me feel bad. He's like, look, there are people who need a missionary. I want you to be a missionary with me. Like, why don't you, like, why are you leaving? Like, there are so many souls to save, and you're thinking about leaving. Like, stick it out. You need to be tough, and you need to, if you stay here, you'll be a missionary. So in my mind, at that moment, I was so confused because there, I have Father David, being kind and saying, if this is what you want, then, we should respect that. And then there's that side with Father Francis where it's like, no, you need to, uh, what I'm trying to say is I felt that I couldn't trust my own decision making. So was there ever a time where you felt that it was also difficult for you to trust your own discernment?
Yes, there are times during my seminary life that I have a doubt if I'm going to tell this one to my superior or not. I have a doubt. And that doubt changed into fear. I feel the same sentiments that you have because if I'm going to ask for medicine, I'm just going to think if they don't do have the money to buy the medicine that I have, or they're going to question why I need to have this medicine, why I need to have this kind of food. So, or why I need to go to the doctor, why I need to go to this house, why I need to visit this benefactor. So there is a doubt. There is no easy way to approach them before because of the fear that they were going to say no. They were going to say no. I'm not allowing you.
Mhm.
I experienced that, and I experienced to be shouted with the praise. Just I'm just asking if I can just visit this benefactor who's expecting me to be there at this moment because I promised to have an enrollment with the village, but the priest during that time said no, you cannot. And I said, why? Are you questioning my authority? And then I just close my eyes and I just pray, oh God, if this one is not a priest, I will punch his face. But I'm talking to a priest. So yeah, I do have the same sentiments that you experience, which is it's very difficult, and because of the fear to to ask them that they're going to say 100% yes.
Well, but I'm happy in your story because it sounds like I've known Father David when he was still a brother in Los Angeles, and I think I might have known him even before he was a brother. So that was like around 1993 since I've been with the Alliance. Um, and like the hard thing, even for maybe some of the listeners, is you know, or other survivors from the community, is that sometimes we bring up names like Father David or Father Philip or Father Francis, and everyone's experience with them can be different. And even with Father David, I saw, like, in my first few years as a brother, I think you brought that up, that he was very much into the thinking of Father Bing. However, um and so was I. So it's like all of us were, especially in that time. However, I really saw, I think he was studying in Tagaytay.
Yeah,
We
Santa.
so the, so our community, we started studying in other places, and I saw a change not only in the community but even in some of the superiors, where I think maybe they were opening their eyes to, okay, the past was, the past, but I am very inspired by Father David, because I saw when he was that very strict, and you have to follow the rules, and like there's only black and white. But I saw him changing, and other, even myself, a change in myself, where there started to be more compassion. Because like, if I were to see you waking up late, and I had that past mindset, I would say something like, "Look at Cyrus. God, I pray for him because he's suffering from laziness, and that's because of the evil spirits that are attacking him due to his hexes and impurities." So that was the kind of mindset. But I'm happy that you shared how Father David gave you the keys to his car, right?
No, he asked the driver.
Oh yes. Oh, I thought he gave you the keys. But still, that the sentiment of, he didn't make you feel embarrassed, or he didn't make you feel bad for wanting to leave, correct?
Yeah.
So I respect that there has been a change of mind and a change of direction in the community, and I'm glad that you were able to leave peacefully, because for those who have followed my podcast, I had to leave. My departure was very much different. It was very painful, very humiliating. And the only ones who were really backing me up and showing me that they cared were Father Philip, Father David, and a little bit Father Justin. I feel that Father Justin was still like not sure, but still he shared with me that he had support for me. Whereas the other priests, Father Bing and others, were not supportive, and that was very painful. So, going back to your departure, you've mentioned before that you were instantaneously brought to be a third order. Now, can you share with us what is an oath third order, and what are they expected to do for the church?
Yeah. A third order is a lay people who is, some of them are married, some of them are single blessed, and they are the one who is extending the charism of a community or a congregation outside the world. So they are the one who is the arm or the lay arm of this certain congregation, like the Oblate Apostle of the Words. So it seems to say they are the orders that is belong to a vocation that is not priesthood, or they are religious, not priesthood. They are the one who is extending the charism of this community. So that is a third order. So that's why I said, oh, there's no difference between a brother and a third order, because the sole purpose of having this charism is you as a person. The sole purpose of this one is your faith and your relation with God. So I decided to be a third order.
Okay, now let me ask you this, because I
Mhm.
think we haven't mentioned too much about the AFI. Would the third order fall under the Oblate Apostles of the Two Hearts, or would they fall under AFI, or would they fall under both? How would you define that?
Um, I should say that Yapi is the beginning of everything. This API is the group that has been founded before these congregations or these institutes that we have, or before this alliance of the two hearts, because this group is the one who's the beginning of everything. So I suppose that, of course, the third order is also under with the AFI, but it is, as far as I know, during the time, it is far from what's really happening right now. So it means to say that the one who's handling the third order during my time is the Oath brothers and the Lim sisters. They are the one, and that is also included on the constitution of the congregation during that time. So during my time, during the time that I decided to become a third order, because I will not, I will going to meet my batchmate because I am a third order of the oath, or going to meet the priest, Father Philip, Father David. I still, during my time, they are still engaging with us as a third order. So they are the one. Father Justin is visiting the third order, is giving inspirational talk. Father David as well, and Father Francis, Father Philip. They are the one who is giving us the formation. So it seems like, oh, it's still old. So okay, everything is good. Everything is okay. So I decided, oh, I can be a third order.
So it's like you're still a brother, with like the, I guess, the same mission of, the two hearts, but you can go home and you can get married or you can get a job. Am I correct?
Yeah, that is a third order. Yes.
Okay.
So that's the purpose of third order in the church.
And during your time as a third order, um, did you see anything that maybe brought up a few questions, or did you see like something in the leadership, in the AFI leadership or the oath leadership, that had you kind of wondering what's going on here?
During my first year as a third order, everything is good. So we have the oath priest. The oath priest is performing their tasks, which is belong to the constitution, that we need to take other orders because we are under with the oath. So they are the ones catering us. We have them, and everything changed when the other pontifical commissariat came across the road. So this changes is been decided with the head or the founder of the group himself. So this changes. Before this changes, uh, the changes of the superior with the six institutes happen, and then after that, after a year of changing the institute's superior, Father Francis and Father Stephen decided to transfer with the Diocese of Berak Catanduanes, and they are not anymore affiliated with the Oath Brothers.
So they left the oath.
They left the oath.
Okay. This is new. This is new to me. Okay.
They left the oath, but found the founder cannot leave the oath. If you're going to check the list of the diocesan priests of the Diocese of San Pablo, Father Edgardo Arellano is still on the record. So it means to say he is a priest of the Diocese of San Pablo, because we know that the canonical founder of this Sixth Institute, which is Bishop Leo Drona, is the Bishop of San Pablo during that time. So they are belong on the Diocese of San Pablo. But the two priests, they need to find a diocese that is outside San Pablo and outside Luzon. So they decided to go to Bicol, which is Beracan and Duanes. So they transferred there. So, but that is the beginning of the changes that we encounter as a third order. Personally, me, because I am a guy that if there is a big move that happened with my surrounding, I will ask what's happening. I will ask what's happening here. I'm not blind, I'm not deaf, but to be honest with you, Anthony, the secretariat of the AFI don't like me to be with them. Why? Because I am a former oath brother. They don't like oath brother or a former oath brother to be with AFI.
So